I'm in the house, but there's a special guest that's showing up. Evidently, he's trying to take my job. He's trying to sit up there and debate against me. I called out everybody. I told him to come. And Rondo himself. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good.
Now, I know you're standing next to Top Gun right there. Don't think for 1 second that he's going to help you. He will betray you. He will betray you. Ain't that right, JJ?
Always. This is a competitive environment, Stephen A. You know that. I'm coming for you today.
Actually, I don't know that. I always win. You know how I roll. I know how I roll. First takes in the house. Let's go.
One game to determine whether or not your playoffs will continue.
I've always been confident once we got to the playoffs, we can compete with anyone.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. Zach LaVine.
Game going strong to the rack. This got a Game 7 feel.
Let's go!
Now we're talking officially playoffs. Look who's here. Two-time NBA champion Rajon Rondo gracing your screen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for
It's
having
going to
me.
be a lot of fun. Portugal, JJ, you got your vacation out of the way.
We did.
It's go time now. Did you guys have fun?
We had a great time.
Yeah.
We had a great time. Good food.
I'm
and
sure
wine.
you did. I must admit, I did expect a better tan, considering the fact that you were on vacation. I thought I
It
was.
wasn't
It
that
wasn't
warm
a
there.
beach.
I was wondering. I was
It was like 65.
I was assuming.
It wasn't like we were laying out.
I was assuming. That's
All
number
right.
one. And Molly, do you know that you're sitting across from a man, 8.5 assists playoff average? Only 7 guards in NBA history have averaged more assists per game in the postseason.
I'm
You know that,
aware
JJ,
of the
did you?
stats.
You didn't know that, did you?
And I like the fit.
I wasn't aware of that particular stat. I did know that Rondo was pretty damn good in the playoffs.
That's right. That's right.
You not being aware of stats? I saw the new State Farm
I'm
commercial.
shocked. I'm
That's
shocked.
good. They do a
Thank
great
you.
job with that. All right, guys, let's get into it because the play-in tournament starts tonight, and a short-handed Minnesota team will travel to L.A. The T-Wolves on Monday suspended Rudy Gobert for today's play-in game against the Lakers after he threw a punch at teammate Kyle Anderson in a team huddle Sunday. The T-Wolves will be without Gobert and Jaden McDaniels, who fractured his right hand after punching a wall in an arena tunnel in Sunday's costly victory over New Orleans. So yesterday, I asked Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins about their expectations for the Lakers, and let's just say their takes were a little bit different. Take a listen.
The Lakers are going to the NBA Finals. When you look at the Western Conference and you look at if they potentially match up with the Memphis Grizzlies, they're going to beat the Memphis Grizzlies. They could beat any team in the West, including the Memphis Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. So when I look at them and what they've been doing over the last 2 months, this squad right here that Rob Pelinka put together at the trade deadline, I had them going to the NBA Finals.
All right. This show is like 6 degrees of Rajon Rondo because obviously the last time the Lakers won a chip with LeBron and AD, you were on that team. And then Perk, also your former teammate, won a chip with the Celtics as well. What do you think about what Perk just said? The Lakers going the distance.
I agree, only if they're healthy. I mean, that's
Okay.
a big if. There's a lot of great teams in the West. You have the Clippers, Phoenix, you name them. It's about 6 out of 8 teams that can win it. But if they are healthy, I don't go against my man LeBron or AD. Those two guys in a 7-game series is going to be tough to beat. It looks like they'll match up with Memphis tonight after they get a dub tonight. They do beat Minnesota, but other than that, they'll go Memphis and have Golden State the second round. So it won't be easy, but they do have a great chance of winning.
I don't think the chance is great. I mean, I give them respect where it's due. They're the best team since the trade in the Western Conference. I'll give them credit for that. I think that AD's an absolute stud, and we all know LeBron is that dude. I get all of that. I just think people are sleeping on Memphis. I think that people have negated or ignored how effective Memphis has been lately. They've been playing out without Steven Adams for a while. They've been playing without Brandon Clark for a while, and they still have been flowing. They lost the last game of the season, but they've certainly been winning. The Lakers, for the longest time, at least for the last couple of months, they had been the second best team in the Western Conference until the last day or so of the season. Memphis was number one. Memphis was the one that was playing damn good basketball. And I think that we have to take into account, yes, we do have a star in LeBron James. There is a star in Ja Morant. And I'm just bypassing Minnesota. I'm just not even thinking about them. Now, I know that Rudy Gobert has been suspended. I know Minnesota has played better without Rudy Gobert on the floor this year. I get all that, but I am still assuming that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to handle their business tonight, and they will be going up against the Memphis Grizzlies. And I understand without Adams and Clark, it's a problem for their front line, but I just think their perimeter shooting and the greatness of Ja Morant and home court advantage in Memphis. Listen, the Lakers, could they get to the finals? Sure, because the West is wide open as far as I'm concerned, about 6 or 7 teams. But I can't bet against Memphis in that series if the Lakers would have played Memphis. I just can't do it.
I just want to address something real quick, Stephen A. I thought your take on Memphis building Ja Morant statues was a little wild.
It wasn't.
Given that he has not won a championship yet, I thought it was a little wild.
I didn't say statues. I said billboards.
Do you
Because
think it's
they still got billboards of Elvis.
I thought it was statues.
No, not statues.
Oh, okay.
It's
All
the
right,
billboards,
all
man. You're
right.
going to Memphis, they got billboards of Elvis. What's
Well,
wrong with those people?
there should be
It's
billboards of
Elvis
Ja Morant. I agree with
Presley.
that.
That's right.
I agree with
exactly.
that. Okay.
Thank you very
I
much.
don't.
Correction there.
All right.
Yes. He's dead. He's dead, ladies and gentlemen. God rest his soul. Let's move on.
A couple things. First of all, I said 2 weeks ago, you were not on the show that day, but I believe this at the time. There were 7 teams that I thought had a chance to win the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 6 teams now. And the reason I say that is because Steven Adams is likely to miss the rest of the postseason. They're already missing Brandon Clark. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's my Defensive Player of the Year, he has an issue with foul trouble. Dylan Brooks has had issues with foul trouble. Let's say, which I think will happen, the Lakers win against the Timberwolves, and it's that matchup. They're going to have some issues guarding Anthony Davis. I mean, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Jaren Jackson Jr. This is a team that gets to the free throw line more than any other team in the NBA. I don't love this matchup for Memphis. And the reason I had Memphis in originally, because I thought it would end up probably being Minnesota in that 7th spot. And then, of course, they lose this game the other night where Rudy Gobert punches Kyle Anderson. Jaden McDaniels breaks his hand. Naz Reid also out with the wrist injury. To me, those 2 losses are more significant for that team than for the loss of Rudy Gobert. On the Lakers, you guys have touched on it. This is definitely a team that can win the Western Conference. They've got the best record in the West since the All-Star break. They're a top 5 defense. And in particular, that doesn't bode well for Memphis, who really struggles to score the ball in the half court. Rajan, I got a question for you because you played against LeBron. You beat LeBron early in his career in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You lost to LeBron in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You won a championship with LeBron. What does it take to beat a LeBron James team in the playoffs?
That's a tough question. It takes a lot of talented players around you. A team that's willing to sacrifice, understanding that one guy can't stop LeBron. You know, it's going to take all 5 guys on the floor, the coaching staff, the water boy, everybody. He's definitely a tough force to get a stop with. He makes his teammates better. You know, he's a great teammate. He plays unselfishly. He can go for 45. Looking at the game now, you all showing. He went into Boston, gave us 45. You know, we all thought we had the series under our belt. He came in with a different mindset, put his team on his back, and got it done. You know, he gets it done so many different ways. It's tough to beat a guy like LeBron, but he obviously is beatable. And they're going to have to sacrifice and come together as a team and get a stop.
I'll throw this question to you first, but this is for both of y'all. And I know we're supposed to be debating this topic, but I appreciate the question that you asked because we need to know that. I'm looking at the Los Angeles Lakers since the trade, and LeBron has gone out of his way to express how happy he is with his new teammates, Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, Beasley, Mo Bamba, and these guys. And I guess what I'm wondering about, the time that they've had together, is it enough to do what y'all say they can do in the Western Conference? Because I haven't heard anybody bring up, all the times we hear y'all talk as players, we hear y'all talk about chemistry. It takes time. Then all of a sudden, he gets these dudes, and listen, they played effectively, but that was the regular season. This is the postseason, the best 4-7, best of 7 series. Do y'all take that into consideration when y'all are thinking about these Lakers?
I do. But then again, you have the playoffs. You have time. You have rest in between each games. You have a time to build chemistry. You have a time to develop the camaraderie throughout film session, throughout, walkthrough on the floor. I don't doubt it. I said LeBron James, Anthony Davis on the floor. You have your guys that obviously looks like they're bought into their role. D'Lo, Schroeder, Vanderbilt. So Reeves. Guys are playing their role. They're being stars in their role, and I feel like they have a great chance of getting it done.
It's a valid point, Stephen. I would say this, because we brought this up a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
Post-trade deadline, the roster fits better around LeBron and AD. And when I think a roster fits, I actually think it's easier to build chemistry. When the roles are simplified, when the roles are clear night to night. But it is a valid point. And, my favorite in the West, the Phoenix Suns, you could make the argument for them, too, as well. Is 8 games with Kevin Durant enough time? Mm-hmm. Do they have enough is talent enough to supersede any sort of chemistry issues or camaraderie or understanding, communication, all that stuff that matters when you get deep in the playoffs?
I just want to know the answer to that question because my primary concern isn't even that. My primary concern is I think people are sleeping on Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson Jr., 18, nearly 19 and 7 a game. He's averaging like 18.6 and 6.8. The brother's averaging 3 shot blocks per game. Listen, foul trouble, he's got to find a way to stay out of that. But you've got somebody on the front line for the Memphis Grizzlies that's going to sit up there and say, get that stuff, not to LeBron, okay, but to get that stuff out of it. Yeah, I mean, this is who Jaren Jackson Jr. is. I understand Steven Adams is not there, Brandon Clark is not there. But what about Jaren Jackson Jr.? Because, by the